Good evening or good day. Thank you very much for being here. I am Kimberly Vincent, and thank you for attending Serene Workforce's webinar on extinguishing burnout in the workplace. In this webinar, we're going to describe and tell you who we are, and as well as explain how stress and soft tissue injuries can result in employee burnout, and how Serene Workforce can be used as a key component to help solve the problems of employee stress and burnout, and how you can incorporate that into your current EAP. As well, we're also going to look at some stretches that you can do on your own and at your desk for yourself or your employees. My name is Kimberly Vincent. I am a registered massage therapist and owner of Serene Physique Massage Therapy in St. John. I'm also owner of Serene Workforce, and I've been in business for 20 years, and it's been my passion to work with companies and employees to help bring the solution of massage therapy to employees. And I'm working with as well my partner, Anne Vermette. Anne, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Kimberly, and thanks for inviting me. I have been doing coaching and HR consulting for about 20 some years, and I have a practice in Moncton, a clinical practice since around mental health. And I've been in business for about 5 years. It's 2017. I'm located here in Moncton. I offer my services virtually by telephone and in person. And I work with individuals, corporations on a number of things. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here. So our vision, we believe that higher standard of workplace wellness is possible through massage therapy. As specialists in corporate massage therapy, we are delivering massage therapy based solutions both in person and virtually to employees. What we do. We are specialists in workplace massage therapy. With 20 years of experience of working with employees, we've successfully treated many soft tissue related injuries and stress conditions. We are a team of professionals, and we specialize in conditions related to the workplace. We focus on prevention and injuries, and as well as treating soft tissue conditions and related workplace injuries that are common and can eventually result in burnout as well. We have proven results over the years. And again, for 20 years, I've been working in the industry and see regular results. Serene Workforce is the easiest way to get your employees taking better care of themselves and thanking you for it. The goal is to improve employee wellness and well-being while decreasing turnover and sick time and increase morale and productivity. And the end result is, of course, improving the company's bottom line. So this is a very important stat that came to us that really pushed the button to make me start this program, Serene Workforce. In Canada alone, and this number, by the way, is pre-COVID, we collected this number, it was in January 2020, stress and soft tissue conditions cost Canadian companies over $30 billion annually. I would question, what does that number mean to your company? How much of that number is part of the problem for your company?
Wow, that's a really big number, Kimberly. And just to echo some other stats, working with employees, and you thinking of burnout rates, since we're talking about stress and burnout, and there's about 40% rate of burnout for those people where their annual income is between $30,000 and $60,000 a year. That's a big number. And when we think about, folks out on disability through their employers, for more than 40% overall of those that are actually going home on some type of disability and trying to recover is related to mental health and stress. It really has grown since the pandemic, which kind of brings me to the next slide. Working in the corporate settings with some of my clients, you know, one of the things that I often hear when I do my HR consulting is, you know, as an employer, folks are really struggling with staff. It's, you know, there's a labor shortage out there. You know, employees are feeling overworked. Employees are feeling stressed. Managers are feeling stressed. Leaders. There's this high repetitive strain injuries that keep coming up in the workplaces. Productivity is generally impacted. It's decreased, and sick time increases. And that can look like employee burnout. And, you know, what Kimberly and I are talking about is how wellness can benefit the company, to increase your productivity, to decrease your absenteeism, increase morale and your corporate savings, so that at the end of the day, employees will feel happier, and organizations are going to be more successful. So it is wellness is a huge part of how companies can help their employees. I really want to talk a little bit about the mind and body, which is the reason why Kimberly invited me here today, was to talk about how interconnected they are. And, you know, when I talk to my clients in counseling in the mental health side of things, these are the things that I will often see with all of my clients who are coming to see me to say, you know what, I'm really feeling stressed. I think I might be nearing a burnout, or they might already be in a burnout and out on disability. These are the 5 warning signs that I often see, which is they start to feel an increase in stress. They're tired. They have difficulties concentrating. Their mental health starts to decline. You know, depression and anxiety can set in. They start to feel overwhelmed and hopeless. Clients will often tell me how they no longer want to do the things that they love to do. They start to see a reduction in their self-care. You know, like going to the gyms no more. It's no longer important. It starts to affect those relationships at work too, and at home. There's also a change in sleep pattern. Some of my clients will tell me they can't sleep, they struggle, they wake up often throughout the night, or the opposite, they actually are so tired and exhausted, they're sleeping all the time. It also affects some of the eating. It could be not feeling like eating at all, or overeating. And those are some of the signs in terms of the mind and body connection. And what does that look like? Well, when we think about stress, we think, you know, sometimes we kind of put it on the back burner. Burnout doesn't happen overnight. Occupational burnout is a real thing, and it happens over a period of time. It's the chronic stress that builds up. And so it's the emotion of stress. When you think about stress, we often talk about it in terms of our body, which Kimberly's going to talk about. But when we think about it as an emotion, it starts there, and we feel our emotions through our body. So, for example, a great one is when we feel sad, and you start to cry, and you feel that sadness through your body, that heaviness. Well, paying attention to our emotions are an important factor to consider when you're feeling stressed and you want to start feeling, build those healthier habits. And part of building those healthier habits is being in connection with your body. And so Kimberly's going to talk a little bit about that more here.
So using massage therapy in our experience of 20 years to help extinguish burnout in the workplace, we have been working with employees for 2 decades plus now. We notice a lot of things people experience when they come in with stress, things like neck pain, low back pain, hip pain, you know, all kinds of, even when it comes to some things like TMJ is another stress type injury that can happen, where people are, you know, they're tensing their muscles, they're tensing their neck, they're getting ongoing headaches, there be less sleep, they're having pain. Then there's also things like repetitive strain injuries like tendonitis and carpal tunnel syndrome and sciatica, and all of those are conditions that we can help treat. And they are things that we can help also teach to prevent from happening in your ongoing day-to-day activities at work and at home. So some of the health benefits that massage therapy does have is helps to decrease, of course, it helps to decrease stress. Massage alone is proven to help decrease the sympathetic nervous system from firing. What that means is it literally helps to bring the body into a state, the body and the mind into a state of relaxation, and also helps to decrease muscle pain and prevents and treats repetitive strain injuries. It helps to keep the muscles and the soft tissue healthy. As well as it helps to improve sleep. To touch on something that Anne had mentioned with respect to sleep, sleep is when our body regenerates. It's when the cells regenerate and heal. It's when our bodies are recharging. We charge the batteries on our phone. We have to recharge the batteries on our bodies, which is our sleep. It's absolutely essential to help heal the body and the mind. We also would educate on proper stretching and posture as well to use at work. So Serene Workforce is more than a massage. It's more than just massage therapy. It's also virtual care. Virtual care is where we sit one-on-one with an employee. They book time with us and they provide us with their health history, and we are able to do a postural assessment. We're able to ask them some questions, do a couple of small assessments to see what their problem may be. And based on that, we develop a clinical impression of the problem and begin working immediately on a solution and a treatment plan for the employee. We also provide monthly webinars. So those webinars are decided based on sitting down and meeting with the CEOs or with the HR or team leads, and find out what are some of the key soft tissue issues that the employees seem to be facing. And we will cater a webinar specifically to that those employees can watch either in person or at a time that's good for them, as we do record them. We would also offer that those employees who participate in our program also benefit from a special preferred rate at our clinic or at any of our associate clinics in the province. As I was saying, how important it is for things like stretching, one of the most key one of the key type stretches that we like to provide. And again, I will show you a few stretches. These are for FYI for you to know about. But we do not suggest that if your doctor suggested you not do any of these stretches, of course, this doesn't override the medical advice of any of your other medical professional, as a doctor may have told you not to do that. Just have to throw that little disclaimer out there. Otherwise, these are some very great natural stretches that can be done. And this is one called for the upper trapezius. And it's just a regular, just a nice stretch. It's what you're going to do. For example, you're going to hold on to the chair that you're sitting on and to stabilize your shoulder, to keep your shoulder in a good place. And you're just going to bring the opposite hand around to bring the opposite ear down to the opposite shoulder and do a nice little gentle stretch, holding that stretch for 20 to 30 seconds. And this is really great to help alleviate things like neck tension, people who tend to get things like headaches and tension headaches and so on. Really great for preventing those types of things. And it's super easy to do at your desk, super easy to do at work. And we always suggest that you always hold your stretch for 20 to 30 seconds and repeat it, and on both sides, and usually 3 times each side. As well, another great one for people who experience low back. In fact, anywhere from usually about 80% of men tend to experience low back pain. So this is a great opportunity for men to stand up and just kind of, it's hands on the hip, and literally just give a little bit of a gentle extension backwards and hold that stretch, just to stretch things out a little bit, paying attention to your balance throughout the stretch. Of course, your knees should always remain nice and straight. And again, 20 to 30 seconds is usually the count on that one. This one is one of my favorite stretches that I like to give to people who work with their hands, work with their arms, maybe do a lot of typing or, using a mouse or keyboard, or even maybe a nurse or whoever it might be that do a lot of work with their forearms and elbows, massage therapist included. So what we're going to do is elbows out nice and straight, and we're just going to give a slight gentle pull backwards. And this is stretching out the muscles underneath the wrist. And that's important to just keep the health of those muscles really nice and healthy. Again, 20 to 30-second count. And I always suggest that you bring that, switch it over to the other side and stretch the front of those muscles. This is really great for people who tend to start to feel symptoms of carpal tunnel syndrome as well. It's going to help to reduce that. So there are just a few stretches that I'm just going to show you as some examples of some things that we would potentially provide to an employee that may need some of the stretches that we could provide to help.
I'm wondering too, Kimberly, with all three of those stretches, one of the things that I do in my counseling practice is we talk about calming that vagus nerve through the deep breathing. And I'm wondering if through the combination of all three exercises, using some deep breathing would also help too.
I love that. In fact, prior to this webinar, I was telling Anne, I did a little bit of deep breathing myself to help calm that vagus nerve. Deep breathe in, all the way in and all the way out. Anne, maybe you could explain real quick how we could do that.
Yeah, so how it generally works is, we have that, the system in our body that kind of, it gets us stressed, and, our mind starts to kind of wander, feel a little overwhelmed. And so when we start to feel that, and you start to feel that stress in your body, one of the things that you can do is you can breathe in through your nose, and out through your mouth, and count to 4. And some of those deep breaths right down into your belly will actually activate what's called the vagus nerve, which calms our brain. So using some of those techniques, Kimberly, with using the deep breathing would be a really great tool for employees and individuals, even kids, to help alleviate some of what they're feeling in terms of their mind and body.
It's such a small thing to do, but it makes such a big difference in the body and in even how the employee, works throughout the rest of the day.
What I love about those tools is for many of us, well, our breath, we have that with us all the time, is what I tell my clients. And the examples that you shared, like, we always have our mind and body with us. So if we can use those tools to calm and relief some of that stress or repetitive injury, why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we will be also sending you some of those stretches. We'll send you another package of some stretches that you can use as well, just by being part of our webinar. We do have some wonderful people who have given us some really great testimonials. And if you would like to find those, they are available on our website as well. We've been very lucky and very happy to have had worked with some really fantastic people who've had some fantastic results. So feel free to check those out. So now I'd like to just kind of open it up. If you have any questions, please feel free to send those questions to us, and we'd be more than happy to address your questions and get right back to you. And it may be, if it seems that you would like to, find out anything else about Serene Workforce and Anne and her services, please reach out. Would love to work with you, and would love to be part of the solution of your employee burnout at your workplace.
Awesome. Thanks, Kimberly, for having me. I really enjoyed the time here.
Thank you very much for being part of this, Anne. You're phenomenal. Your wealth of knowledge and your experience is far more of everything that we need, and everything that we needed tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody.